I think this is going to be a difficult process. I think it's going to be a fight. We're going to be fighting for our clients and to get them, what they deserve. They've been ones paying into this tax, so we're going to do what, we can for them. But for the rest of you, log on to that CRA website. Remember, you're on your own.
Yeah.
As a business owner, you are on your own. The unicorns and fairy dust, it's being said at the press conference, but it's not being put online. And until those checks get dispersed, all bets are off.
I can see the whole wide world with these 2 eyes, and I can be whoever I wanna be, 'cause it's my life.
Hi, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Ask Spurrell CPA. Here with Trevor from Inspired Method. Trevor, thanks again. You're here.
No problem.
We've got the casual wear going.
Absolutely.
People aren't coming in the office.
Rules are different during the crisis here.
During the crisis, yeah. We got remote meetings only at this time. So, today we're talking about EI benefits for self-employed people in Canada. And specifically, we're digging in, as promised, to see if, Justin Trudeau is possibly issuing empty promises. We looked through the provincial program last time, and we were happy to report that what was on their website was consistent. It was just a lack of the application, which has since been rectified.
Yes.
Just today, it's on there. The provincial application for self-employed has been rectified. But now let's drill into the federal program.
Oh yes, this is going to be good, guys.
So
strap in, make some popcorn.
I don't think it's going to be as rosy of an analysis that we're going to give for Prime Minister Trudeau as we gave for Premier Kenney. So, Trevor, what are the questions we should?
Okay, so the first question that we have here is, are you seeing a lot of misinformation circulated?
Yes, I am seeing an absolute ton of misinformation being circulated. Clients are emailing me, people are texting me, people are sending me message about every infograph and document that they found, and I'm sorry to tell everybody that they are just speculation. Every single document you are sending me at this point is just speculation, and we're going to break it down why it's speculation at this point. So
how are the press conferences contributing to the misinformation, and what sources can we trust?
So there's a lot of actual good reporting going on. So a lot of those documents or infographics or articles that you're seeing are the result of good reporting, and they're accurately interpreting the press conference. But then what is posted online is different than what's being said at the press conference. So, the only source that you can really trust at this point is what's actually on the government website. So when we talked the other day, it was about the Alberta government website, and it was accurate. It actually matched, what was on the Alberta government website matched what Kenney said. But what's on the federal government website? I'm concerned. I'm concerned it does not match, and people are assembling these documents, infographics, tips, articles. They're getting sent out everywhere, but the only thing you can trust is what's actually on the government website, and we got that here for you.
Yes. So, why should entrepreneurs pay careful attention to Trudeau's press conference concerning his wife's COVID-19 diagnosis? I'm
going to go roll through it. There's a differentiation in between self-isolation and quarantine. It's a differentiation, and they know about it. And so I'm going to read through exactly what Trudeau said. Though this is March 13th, Trudeau's releasing this. And he says, "We do not want any Canadian to have to worry about whether or not they are going to be able to pay their rent, whether or not they are going to be able to buy groceries or care for their kids or elderly family members. We need to make sure that Canadians have the option and ability to follow the best public health advice and keep themselves safe." The question that was posed to Trudeau after this press conference was, can you describe specifically what your self-isolation means both for you and your family and your wife? You're outside right now. Is your wife still going outside? Is your family still going outside? And what does self-isolation actually mean for your family? That's what the reporter asked. Good question.
Yeah.
And then they got a non-answer. The first non-answer was
shocking.
Yeah, it's just a generality. Can you believe that coming from Trudeau? So the answer was, we, as are many, many Canadians. I'm trying my best regal voice.
You need a little more smugness.
Right now are following very carefully the advice that public health professionals are telling us in terms of what we can do and what we shouldn't do, which didn't really answer specifically what they're doing, did it? So the follow-up question, of course, was, what does that mean? Practical reporter in the audience. I don't know if he'll be invited back next time to next press conference, but
he's probably fake news.
Here's the answer. The answer: I am in isolation, as are my children, and my wife is in quarantine. So she's tested positive for COVID. He has not. So let's read that again. That means I am in isolation, as are my children, and my wife is in quarantine. He knows and has a very specific definition of what isolation and quarantine, which can be reasonably interpreted as, if you are in precautionary isolation, that is different than being tested positive where you are in quarantine. That is very specific. It's going to come up in the literature on the website, on the Government of Canada website.
Okay, so do you think that Trudeau's press conference on March 18th was overpromised to benefits to self-employed benefits?
Yes. I think it is an overpromise. So let's break it down. So I'm taking out exact verbatim of what was said at the press conference. They're long, but I'm just picking out the parts that are actually relevant for business owners, because 99% of it is just not about you. Business owners, we're only 4% of the population. I guarantee you 96% of everything coming out, it's not for us. It's for employees and big companies and government workers, right? They're playing the vote system. So Justin Trudeau says, to ensure your safety, we are recommending to everyone that they work from home. Verbatim, word for word, said on March 18th in the press conference. You can go look it up, watch it on CBC YouTube if you want. And it says, no matter who you are and what you do, this is a time where you should be focused on your health and that of your neighbors, not whether you're going to lose your job and not whether you're going to run out of money. Verbatim quote. So, I keep going on what Trudeau says. Let's start with people who don't qualify for employment insurance and don't have access to paid sick leave. Our government will introduce the emergency care benefit, which will provide money every 2 weeks to workers who have to stay home. So who should stay home? Apparently everyone should stay home.
Everyone should stay home.
But I keep going. People receive this benefit for 14 weeks for an amount comparable for what would be paid through EI. This applies to people who fall ill, people who have been placed in quarantine, or have to self-isolate. I'm going to go through that again. This applies to people who will fall ill, people who have been placed in quarantine, or have to self-isolate. Verbatim, word for word, from Trudeau's mouth in the press conference. It also applies to those who have to take care of a family member with COVID-19. But as I said, fail to qualify for EI. If you lose your job and you do not qualify for EI, we'll be introducing an emergency support benefit to help you. This will also apply to people who are self-employed and have to close shop because of the virus. So who should have to close shop? Everyone. We'll go back to what he said, right? So these are some of the things our government is doing to make sure that no matter where you live, what you do, or who you are, you will get the support you need during this time. And this time being now. That's what it said. Yeah. In Canada, public health should never hinge on financial considerations. Very big words, but the website's not going to back it up, and we're going to get to it. So the question that came out of it too, another pertinent question. It's probably, I hear new voices in the questions all the time, not the same voices. They get kicked out for asking the wrong question. So
how dare you?
The question is, when will Canadians actually be receiving that money? Answer. We are talking about a few weeks for the paid checks to be produced, particularly for those who don't qualify for EI. There are legislative measures that are needed, so we are working with the other parties who are fully cooperating with us in order for us to pass those measures through the House of Commons and get the money out. But the money is being done right now. It was a few weeks or right now? I don't like that. I don't like. I'm already confused on what he's saying there. Yeah. So, in fact, even before the House returns, so we can get that money to people as quickly as possible, so they have it when they need it. So when are they shut down?
Now.
Now. When do they need the money?
Now.
Now. You think that's what it says on the website? We'll get to it. So, question. What kind of reassurances can you give to Canadians at this time that the government has the infrastructure in place and the people in place, considering the directive to work from home, that this money will roll out in a timely and efficient manner? Good question this report is asking, because we've seen reports saying that 75% of the government workers have been sent home, and some of them are having trouble doing their job from home. Trudeau's answer. There are many families across this country who are looking at their sources of income dry up because of COVID-19. Many of them qualify for EI. Many workers qualify for EI. That's his base, not you as an entrepreneur. And we are making sure that with the elimination of the 1 week waiting period, that money will be able to flow significantly and quickly to them. Side note, we're having trouble filing ROEs because the website is crashing. So, I keep going. Many families do not qualify for EI. Many workers do not qualify for EI, and therefore we're putting in place exceptional measures that will flow money to them every 2 weeks. Start date to be announced. Our capacity to do this is something we spent a lot of time over the past days ensuring, because we know that it could make the difference between one family facing tougher times or not, but it could make the difference on health of all Canadians. Sounds great, doesn't it? Just sounds like unicorns and fairy dust.
Yes, sounds like he really cares.
People need to be able to self-isolate. Again, there's that word, self-isolate, not quarantine. Need to be able to stay home. Need to be able to care for their families when their ordinary sources of revenue dry up. That was the promises on the 18th, and I think they're leading up to an overpromise. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know.
It's okay if they over-deliver.
Hey,
overpromise, over-deliver.
Different story.
Different story.
But we're hearing promising the moon here.
All right. So now let's talk about the website. So does this government website guarantee self-employed EI for self-isolation?
Okay. This is it. The Government of Canada website. Stop looking at the infographics being sent by your friends. Stop. Even the articles from reputable sources, National Post, Edmonton Journal. They're not wrong. They're not misreporting. But the fact is, what's being said at those press conferences is not what's being put on the website. So, I saw a good article from the Journal the other day that says the Alberta government just apply here. When you go follow to the website, didn't exist yet, right?
Yeah.
I saw, something on the CBC where there was a self-employed travel agent. They had him on, and he was saying, guys, I've been digging through the website, and I can't find it. And the reporter corrected him with the authority, saying, I've watched all the preference conferences. We'll send you the link. That link does not exist. It does not exist. So, let's say, we'll read it here. Introducing the emergency care benefit. This is straight verbatim from the website. Up to $900 bi-weekly for up to 15 weeks. This flat payment benefit would be administered through the Canada Revenue Agency, CRA, and provide income support to workers, including the self-employed, who are quarantined or sick with COVID-19 but do not qualify for EI sickness benefits. Trevor, do you see the word self-isolated anywhere in that document?
I do not see
it's not there.
Isolation in
Go
there.
on the website. It's not there. I've been reading this document on the web. I PDF'd it today. They'll probably change it if this gets enough traction. It's not on there.
Maybe they just forgot to put that in there. Maybe they didn't see the press conference.
Maybe they forgot to put it in there, and maybe they tried to just, slap through Parliament just now that would give them, basically a dictatorship for almost 2 years until the opposition,
nice
found
try.
Not there. Trust me. I think they know very, very well. Trudeau understands. He demonstrated on the 13th. He understands exceptionally well the difference between self-isolated, quarantined, and sick with COVID-19. There is an extreme difference to that. Let's break it down. How do you get diagnosed with COVID-19? So
Ooh, that's a good one.
you have to either have, be rushed to hospital with an exceptional case, in which case, you're having difficulty breathing, they will run the test, or you have to have traveled from a hot zone.
Yeah.
Or you have to be married with the prime minister and then
There
you
you
can
go.
get diagnosed. But for the rest of you out there, you're not going to get the test. If
If you feel sick, you just stay home.
you haven't been to Wuhan or Italy, you're going to call the 811 and tell them you have a cough. You're not kidding. But they're telling you to self-isolate, but there's no guarantee on the website that says they're going to pay for self-isolate even though they're telling you to do it. So, that's it. Then we move on to the longer-term support for workers. For Canadians who lose their jobs or face reduced hours as a result of COVID's impact, the government is introducing an emergency support benefit delivered through CRA to provide up to $5 billion in support for workers who are not eligible for EI and who are facing unemployment. What the heck is unemployment going to mean for a self-employed individual? It's just not even. This is the document we're supposed to rely on. You cannot. You can't rely on this document. There's nothing. There is no certainty right now in that program. All of those, memes, infograph, articles from your friend, rumors, don't believe them. Look at the document. They're coming from the press conference, but the press conference is saying one thing and the website is saying something different. Now, oversight? Maybe. But that's what the government website is saying.
Okay, so Josh, what is the timeline on the government website saying for issuing these funds?
Here's the timeline right here. I have it right here, right from the government website. But when do we need to stay home? Now. Should any Canadian have to be worried about income? No. But what
no
is the
matter
government
who you are, what you do, we'll take care of you.
take care of you, no matter what. It's the Canadian thing.
Yeah.
That's the way. That's the promise. But what does the government website say? Emergency care benefit? They're not even going to have the application ready until sometime in April. Emergency support benefit? Early April. That's when they're actually even going to have the application. Never mind the payment that's going to come out to these people. So,
as of this time, April's next week.
yeah.
April's next week.
Is that going to happen? I don't know. But I have no confidence yet in what's being said. Alberta government, kudos on them. They made a promise. Their website is reflecting their promise. Couple extra days to get the application process, but they're lapping the federal government this time. They're far and away. That if the checks come out, I don't know about you. I've dealt with CRA and I've dealt with Alberta Finance on numerous occasions. I'm picking Alberta Finance in this race that gets some relief out to people. So
I'm just going to float it out there. I think Alberta could do pretty well on its own.
that's a different discussion.
Do you think this process will be quick and easy for business owners, Josh?
No. Let's look at it. You know how many applications? There was an article in National Post. It was highly publicized. 500,000 EI applications. There was another article in the Financial Post just yesterday saying it's up to 1 million. They have received 1 million EI applications already. This is like the first week.
Yeah.
First week. It's going to be in the millions. They're saying they have this exceptional capacity, but I'm seeing their website, not working well just for basic ROEs. Good luck getting a hold of somebody. The only hope that I see is someone is going to make the intelligent decision and just say hit batch release on all the checks, because they don't have a hope of following up on this. You know what the criteria is to follow up on someone who's collecting EI who starts a business? It's an exceptionally time-consuming process to do it for, the majority of businesses out there, because they should all be working from home and a lot of them are going to have, income reduced. So I think this is going to be a difficult process. I think it's going to be a fight. We're going to be fighting for our clients and to get them, what they deserve. They've been ones paying into this tax, so we're going to do what, we can for them. But for the rest of you, log on to that CRA website. Remember, you're on your own.
Yeah.
As a business owner, you are on your own. The unicorns and fairy dust, it's being said at the press conference, but it's not being put online. And until those checks get dispersed, all bets are off.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's on us as business owners. It's a tough time out there. But this is not just a argument on health. Like I keep getting this. People think let's shut businesses down because we'll save lives. Shutting businesses down, slowing down the economy is statistically proven to cost lives. We're not, trading lives for bank balances, right? After the Great Recession, there's been, statistical evidence. I've thrown out the Alberta suicide rate. There's been 10,000 suicides in the developed world. We're talking Canada, U.S., U.K. That's what statisticians estimate extra that were caused by the Great Recession. I mean, another stat. You want another stat? After the Great Recession, they estimate that there was 260,000 additional cancer deaths in the developed world that resulted from the Great Recession because there was less money available to spend on healthcare afterwards. This is a finite resource. We can't spend forever. We've been here in very recent history. It has a very real human cost. Shutting down the economy. We gotta find a way. To help the people who are vulnerable and not shut down the economy, because I guarantee shutting down the economy for months on end is not just an enormous economic catastrophe. It will have a very real human cost. So that's what you have out there. Spread this around. Make sure people aren't following the fake made-up documents, and unfortunately, even the very reliable sources. Look at the government website. That's the only one that's believe nothing of what you hear and half of what you see. That's the message at this point. So thanks very much for tuning in. We will have more later concerning mortgage deferrals, rent reductions coming up. Thanks very much, guys.